Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Raditul billahi rabban wa bil islami dina wa bil muhammadin wa bi wa rasulullah. Asyhadu la ilaha illallah wa asyhadu anna muhammadar rasulullah. Kepada Allah senantiasa kita bersyukur dan kepada Nabi Muhammad SAW senantiasa kita bersalawat. Sebelum saya melanjutkan presentasi pada hari ini, izinkan saya memperkenalkan diri selaku moderator. Perkenalkan, nama saya Gena Nugra dan saya ingin memperkenalkan para speaker pada hari ini, yaitu speaker pertama adalah bernama Anissa Wisran selaku speaker pertama. Speaker kedua yaitu Alifia Wardania selaku pembicara kedua, dan selaku audiens adalah Ahmad Al-Rasid. Jadi pada hari ini kita akan melakukan presentasi dari kelompok 1 speaking, mata kuliah speaking. Jadi langsung saja, untuk mempersingkat daripada waktu, saya serahkan kepada pemateri pertama atau speaker pertama, yaitu Saudari Anissa Wisran. Saya persilahkan.
Definition of lesson plan. A lesson plan is a teacher's daily guide for what students need to learn, how it will be taught, and how learning will be measured. Lesson plans help teachers be more effective in the classroom by providing a detailed outline to follow each class period. Benefits of lesson plan. 1. It inspires the teacher to improve the further lessons. 2. It helps the teacher in evaluating his teaching. 3. It develops self-confidence in the teacher. 4. Proper care is taken on take into consideration the level and previous knowledge of students. 5. The teaching matter is organized in a time frame. 6. It inspires the teacher to ask proper and important questions. 7. It provides guidance to the teacher as to what and whom he should teach. 8. It helps in creating the interest of students towards the lesson. 9. It stimulates the teacher to think in an organized manner. 10. It helps the teacher to understand the objectives properly. Purpose of lesson plan. Lesson plan or RPP is made by a teacher to develop basic competencies that have been compiled from a detailed syllabus according to the main themes that have been set. Lesson plan or RPP is very important because the plan is the first step that must be prepared before we do something, so that the expected goals can be achieved optimally. Good and proper planning will minimize potential problems in the process of teaching and learning activities.
Jadi itulah pemaparan dari speaker 1, yaitu Saudari Anissa. Mungkin kita lanjut pada speaker 2, yaitu Saudari Alifia Wardania. Saya silakan untuk memaparkan materinya.
Lesson plan part. First, class or level. What class that you will teach and what level. Example, first grade in junior high school or basic level. Next, objectives. Write that you expect your students will do by the end of the lessons. Example, Gracia. By the end of the lessons, students will be able to pronounce, identify, put words in sentence, change into passive, compare, answer, use, match, etc., or any verbs that can be observable and measurable in the classroom. For example, when teaching brand new concept, you might define action like define, identify, explain, and determine. Or students are able to know the kinds of words related to holiday, supermarket, etc. Next, vocabulary. Vocabulary that relate to the topic. Example, airplane, airport, bags, explore, and etc. that relate to holiday. Fourth, materials. The fourth section on your lesson plan is the list of materials that you need to teach the lessons and measurable students' outcomes. This section prepares you deliver your lessons every day. Example, students' handouts, textbooks, computer or tablets, LCD, and etc. Next, time. The duration of students' learning. Example, 1 hour, 2 hour, and etc. Next, potential problem. Here are some problems and potential problems that we noticed. Aimless wandering, failure to achieve objectives, needed teaching materials or equipment not available, and poor connection with preceding or subsequent lessons, and mixed ability. Lesson plan activities. How to start the class. First, greeting. Example, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning class, how are you doing? Don't use slang or informal language, because in classroom settings, we use formal or polite language. Next, checking attendance. Example, I would like to checking your attendance list. Please raise your hand if I say your name. Next, giving attention grab. If students are not really focused anymore, teacher could giving attention grab. For example, okay students, if I say hello, you could say hi, and if I say hi, you could say hello. Fourth, icebreaker. Ice breaking is a good activity that will encourage bonding, participation, motivation, and allow students to relax both mentally and physically. Next, lead in. Lead in, or we could say as a bridge for the material. Before explain about the material further, teacher could give some description about material before she or he tells the student about the topic. Next, checking understanding. You have to check whether students have understood or not with the material you have explained. Because there may be some students who don't understand, but don't say to them, did you understand? Or is there anything you want to ask about the material I've explained? Because if you check their understanding with question like that, they will definitely answer, yes, I understand, or nothing we want to ask. Why is that? Because they are afraid to say they don't understand. So what should we do? You can say, so what we are going to do? Or if I say I went to the market yesterday, what is the simple past of the form of the sentence? Or another example after listen my explanation before, could you explain again about what is a simple past tense? Next, control practice. After you explain the material, you have to give assignment to students, both individually and in groups. Its function is so that students better understand the materials that has been explained, and students can also train themselves to find ways to complete the tasks that have been given. Next, feedback. Feedback is the teacher's response to students' performance in the teaching and learning process, and it's important given by the teacher. And when students make mistakes in answering question or read a passage with the wrong spelling, don't mention their name and say they are wrong, because it will make them ashamed and will not be confident anymore. So what should we do in that situations? All we have to do is giving them a positive feedback. For example, great, thanks for the answer, or thanks for the response. All the answers that have been given are correct, but there are some parts that must be considered and improved again so that the sentences are better. Next, closing. Closing is the final part of teaching and learning activities. So, what should we do in this section? We can give some positive words or motivation to them so that they are even more enthusiastic. For example, well students, Finally, our lesson has been complete for today. Thank you for your cooperation with me, and also you have worked very hard today in completing the task that I gave. You guys are really great, and I'm so happy to meet and teach you guys today. Don't forget to revisit materials we learned today. Have a nice day. Thank you very much.
Jadi itulah pemaparan dari speaker 2 yaitu Saudari Elvia Wardania. Jadi saya selaku moderator ingin membuka sesi daripada pertanyaan. Apakah audiens ada yang ingin bertanya? Silakan acungkan tangannya, lalu silakan bertanya.
Thank you, moderator, for the chance. I only have one question about checking understanding part. I still don't understand about that part. Could you give a clearer example about that part? Thank you.
Jadi itulah pertanyaan dari audiens. Jadi langsung saja untuk mempersingkat daripada waktu, saya serahkan pada Saudari Anissa Wisran untuk menjawab dari pertanyaan dari audiens.
Okay, thank you for the questions that have been given by Ahmad Al-Rashid. I will give one clear example to check students' understanding of the material that has been explained. That is by giving them a simple test, such as writing 5 sentences in Indonesian on the whiteboard, then giving instructions to students to change the sentences into simple past tense in English. Ask students to come forward randomly by raising their hands first. After all the sentences are changed, it means that some students have understood the explanation of the previous material, and other students who do not get a turn will understand through the answer on the board. Through this example, you have indirectly checked understanding with student.
Thank you, Saudari Anissa Wisran, for the answer. I fully understand about that part now. Thank you very much.
Kalau tidak ada lagi yang ingin dipertanyakan atau ingin didiskusikan, jadi saya tutup presentasi pada hari ini. Kurang lebihnya mohon dimaafkan. I think that's all. Thank you for attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.